Hello, hello, Sagittarius, Sun, Moon, and Rising, and welcome to your monthly Tarotscope. My name is Liz. I am the Femme Genius, and I am so excited to dive into your birthday season, your birthday month, dive into these vibes, intuitive guidance to help you navigate the month ahead. Sagittarius season brings a sense of adventure, optimism, and inspiration. So this reading is going to help you harness that energy in your own unique way. And because this is your birthday season, you get an extra long reading this month. So sit back, relax, take what resonates, leave the rest as always, and get ready for your Tarotscope. If you love this content, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, share it with your fellow Sagittarians, and hit that subscribe button for more intuitive insights in tarot magic. Make sure you tap the bell icon so you're notified as soon as new videos drop. You don't want to miss what's coming up next. So let's jump into your reading and see what the cards have to say. Also, there will be all 12 zodiac signs posted for December Tarotscope, so be sure to watch whichever ones you feel guided to watch. So, without further ado, for Sagittarius, December 2024. Oh my gosh. Alrighty. Okay, I see that you can't see that. Okay. So we're going to do those. We're going to do these, and we're going to do these. I'll move them into the frame so you can see them, but I just want to take a look. So I like to pull a 9-card spread for myself. This is my favorite kind of spread, and it's literally just a very simple 3-card spread that I've expanded to include a little bit more information for each of the positions. So this for me is where you're at now, where you're headed to in this Sagittarius December season, and what's the journey telling you along the way. So this is not all set in stone. This is not fully predictive. This is here to be energetic support for you, to acknowledge, to validate. I set the intention that the messages for your highest and greatest good are coming through. So let's get started. So here are the 3 cards that talk about where you currently are. We've got the 10 of Swords, the 6 of Cups, and the 7 of Pentacles. And with these 3 cards, I'm automatically noticing that we have air, water, and earth. So the one thing that's missing is you. It's fire. So it feels like you bring enough of the fire right now that this whole month is going to be about grounding in, checking in with your thoughts, checking in with your emotions, and then letting your fire burn off anything that's not serving you. So we've got this 10 of Swords. So it feels like you're coming to the end of some type of mental cycle, some type of thought pattern that's no longer serving you. And I feel like it has to do with something that started when you were a child, as most of our thought patterns do. So when we're talking about our thoughts, the reason that we're going into an exploration of them is that so much of the time we are taught to just go on autopilot. We are programmed from a young age to think a certain way, to have certain opinions, to view the world through a certain lens. And then we generally have that instilled in us by our closest caretakers, and then where we're being educated, what work we're being, funneled into doing. So there's so many insights, and there's so many, I'm like reaching for a word, influences, that's the word I'm looking for, that we're getting from such a young age that we're unaware of or that we're unconscious of. And so our work as adults, so much of it is actually going back and starting to uncover, what do I think? How do I feel? Why do I think that way? Where did that opinion come from? Where did that story come from? How was that imparted to me? How was it instilled in me? What was the evidence that backed up that story in order for it to go from being a story into a belief? How did I internalize this information? So this is not shallow work. And this is the type of work that generally is happening behind the scenes. So we may not be like, okay, today I'm going to start uncovering stories that started in my childhood about certain ways that I'm taught to view the world. A lot of times we're not setting the intention to go in and be like, okay, uncover these stories, or why do I think this way? We can start developing practices that are going to lead us into that more intentionally, but a lot of times, like, we'll find ourselves in a repeating pattern, or we'll find ourselves, in a situation where we feel stuck. And then we're like, why am I so stuck? And then it's almost like peeling back the layers of an onion, or, ripping off the Band-Aid that's been covering the wound for a long time and having to take a look inside. So it feels like this work this month may not be it may not have started as a conscious exploration, I should say, as opposed to, being like, well, it's December, and so I'm going to use the very little time that I have to devote to uncovering childhood wounds or old stories that no longer serve me. And that's the point, is it's not just to go through and clear out the closet. It's to take everything out of the closet and decide, okay, what sparks joy, or, whatever your version of that is. What's serving me? What am I still wearing? What still fits? What no longer fits? And am I holding on to that to see if it will fit again in the future? Or am I going to say, you know what, that doesn't fit who I am now, and it doesn't fit the person that I want to become in the future. So it's starting to make conscious choices, conscious decisions about which beliefs we carry with us into the future, which beliefs we're going to rely upon for our present, and which beliefs from the past just aren't serving our highest and greatest good. And part of this mindset that's coming through, especially right now, is our expectations. 7 of Pentacles is it's looking at, when we plant a seed in our lives, what is it that we're expecting? And this is pulling me into this very transactional energy, almost like the promises you were made about, okay, I'm just going to use something that has been said in my life as an example, when I was a child, where it was like, if you study this hard, if you get this degree, if you live in this place, if you drive this kind of car, if you have this type of family, if you educate your child this way, if you marry this type of person, oh my gosh, I'm running out of breath. If you eat this way, if you move your body this way, if you're this thin, if you're this pretty, if you're this feminine, all of these expectations wrapped up into, this is what you need to do. If you do all this, if you check off all, if you buy this type of house, blah, 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 all these things, then you can live this type of life. Very transactional, very caught up in expectations of what, number one, what your life should look like, or what happiness is. And a lot of that was wrapped up in someone else's version or someone else's vision of success. And then that starts creating expectations for us in every area of our lives, in our appearance, in the people we love, in the places we live, in the ways that we spend our money, in the ways that we earn our money, in the value of success, in what success looks like, in what happiness entails, all of these things. So it's touching every part of our lives. All 7 of these pentacles, all of these areas. I'm also being pulled for some reason into like the houses of astrology, the 12 houses of astrology, which kind of touch, again, every point of our lives, where it's like your career, your relationships, your friendships, the way you communicate with the world, the way you're received, all of it, how you live, what you do for work, how you connect with your intuition. So I feel like there's this deeper exploration going on right now of how you were taught about expectations of what a life looks like, or what a life well lived looks, feels, sounds, tastes, smells like, what that experience is, and how you get there. These expectations of, if you water your garden in this way, if you plant these seeds and water it this way, here's the expected outcome. If you're planting carrot seeds, you don't expect to grow a whole patch of tomatoes. You expect that if you water them and you till the soil and you nurture those seeds, that come spring, you're going to have a whole batch of carrots waiting for you, or summer, whenever it grows, but you're going to have a batch of carrots. And so this is really breaking down and saying life is a garden in many ways. You're tending to it. You're revisiting, okay, what grew? What were the external factors that I couldn't control here? What were the internal factors that I could control, like my expectations, how I showed up to water my garden? But, I couldn't predict the weather. I couldn't predict that, the cold snap right in the middle of spring that killed everything, being able to see and reflect on what actually is in your control, what's not in your control, but also knowing that life has so many factors outside of your control. And there are so many other people who are also either exercising their free will or exercising under their conditioning, that there's so much room for error, or there's so much room for that butterfly effect. Like if you just did one thing differently, or if the weather was a little different in the Himalayas, so it like trickled down, everything in your life would have been different. But it's almost like uncovering all of this and saying, okay, how much is within my control and how much is outside of my control? And how can I take that differential in the middle, the stuff that isn't within my control, and how can I tend to my needs and tend to myself and my real hopes within that time, energy gap? It also feels like uncovering a lot of the mindset of the transactional nature of life and really debunking that, because life is not transactional. I'm here to tell you that in my lived experience, I checked off all the boxes that I was supposed to, and I still wasn't happy. And I still didn't have, long-term overabundance that I was promised. And I still didn't have, there were all these things that I was like, but I checked all the boxes. I checked all of the boxes, and I'm still not getting what I was told or promised. And so what if I just try it my own way for a while? And I'll tell you what, trying it my own way has been the highest highs and the lowest lows, but it's also intentional. It's also bringing in a different awareness. And when I do that, it's like the fulfillment of what I consider success, but also what I consider a failure or a challenge, and being able to transmute that into a lesson instead of being like, well, I guess this just means that I'm an idiot, like whatever the old story was of like, oh, I did it wrong, as opposed to, oh, I did it my way, and this is what the outcome was. Okay, all right. Do I want to repeat that outcome? Do I want to tweak it a little? What if I tried resting a little bit more? What if I tried seeing this through a lens of awe? What if I tried seeing this through a lens of pure growth? Like how much growth has happened? What if I saw it through a lens of... So it feels like there's this uncovering happening right now in the month of December for you, which is so exciting. The outcome of this, like where this is headed, we have the Seven of Swords, love her. So I'm also noticing that we've got 2 sevens right off the bat. So we got a 7 of Swords, the Fool, and the King of Pentacles. We'll take some of that all day long. And so what this is telling me is that like the outcome of this is that you're going to be able to really hone in on your BS detector. You're going to be able to see like, actually, am I happier being outside of this version of life where all we talk about is, the things that hurt us, or the pain that we're in, or the things that are holding us back? Or am I taking those things that are within my control and actually making something out of them, or using them, utilizing them, employing them? So it feels like there's this happiness of, I'm not living under the cover of conditioning anymore. I'm not going to just sit around and talk about it. I'm going to take action based on my thoughts, my feelings, my awareness. I'm going to be intentional, and I'm not going to, there's something around people sitting around being like, someday I'm going to do this. And you're like, well, I can't be in someday conversations anymore, because I want to take action now. And take action you do. The Fool. Allowing yourself to constantly be a student of your life, learning along the way, picking up the lessons that are being offered to you like little breadcrumbs along the path, not waiting for the path to be 100% clear, but living life as you are on the path, creating the path as you're living. There's this concept, this phenomenon that's popping up in my head where, and now I forget what the word for them is, but when you see like a sidewalk or a path that's been cut out or demarcated somehow in your community, but then you see like the little trodden path that's just been worn down by people walking in that way. And sometimes it runs parallel to the path, or sometimes it's like an offshoot of the path. But you're like, that's where the sidewalk should really be, because that's where the functional egress or ingress, that's where people are actually walking, is where the path has been, the grass is gone because people have walked through it. I remember when I went to Virginia Tech, they talked about how the quad in the middle, the drill field, how the sidewalks were established based on what those like they let people just like walk across the drill field on the campus from the dorms to the academic buildings. And then once they saw like, oh, okay, this is where the grass is matted down because this is where people are actually walking and using these paths, that's where they made the sidewalks. Genius, right? So it feels like you are taking action in a different way. Like by clearing out these old stories, what it's doing is it's helping you have the tools, have the bravery to actually take the action instead of just being like, well, I'm just going to check off all these boxes. And where this leads you to is long-term abundance, the King of Pentacles, solid long-term abundance. This stuff that people taught you, it was generally for, to reach this goal. It's like, this will be your path to abundance, but you've lived it and been like, actually, it's not. This only gets me this far. I want the easy life, like not the easy way out, but I want to feel like I can put my feet up, enjoy my life, have my pipe, read my paper. This looks like ease to me. That's how I want to do it. I don't want to be, pulling my hair out and getting like knuckle prints on my forehead from sitting, balancing my head on my elbows at my desk. I want to enjoy this. So it feels like all of this abundance and like being able to actually enjoy it, and the action taking and feeling like what the path is, that's on offer as part of this experience of this month. And the journey to get there, I'm noticing again, we've got a lot of swords here. You've got 10 of swords, 7 of swords, King of swords, Page of swords, powerful swords energy. That's the thought energy. And we have the High Priestess again, and she's an air energy too. So the way there is all of this air energy. And I love that. This is the Aquarius card. This is Aquarius, Gemini, and Libra. And what I love about the pathway there being all air is that it is going to take a lot of mental focus. Where you're going to end up is in embodiment. Where you're starting with is embodiment as well. But the path there, it is going to be an internal, an unraveling of this condition, this mental conditioning, and really stepping more into what's your intuition telling you. I'm going to tell you a quick story real fast. And that was that we just had an opportunity come through that we've been waiting for a long time. And, we finally got the go ahead. We've been waiting, we've been hoping, we've been manifesting for, I think, 6 out of the past 7 years. And we just got the go ahead. Like, you've got it. It's coming through if you want it. And we were delaying accepting it. We were delaying letting the people know, like, yes, we want this. And we weren't really talking about it internally. And finally this weekend we had a talk, and I said, I'm just going to say this. I know we've been waiting for this for a long time. And like, this is the answer to our prayers that we've been having. And like, we really wanted this, but something about it just feels off. Like something just doesn't feel right in my stomach. And I have gone through the exercise of asking, like, is this just the fear of something new? Is this the fear of changing? Or is this really my intuition telling me that this is not the right move right now? And it just came through where it was like, you can trust your intuition, trust your gut. You know enough about yourself. You know enough about what's right for you. You know what's going to be supporting your highest and greatest good. And you know when it isn't. And this is a no. And that's okay. And through all the fear and the wanting to find logical explanations as to why it was a no, I just let it be a no. And when I explained that to my family, they were like, you know what? It's so funny because it's also a no for me, but I didn't want to say anything because this is something we've wanted for so long. And so we finally came to that no, and we just supported each other saying something here is off for all of us. It doesn't feel fear-based. It feels very sound, and it feels very decisive as this is a no for us right now. So that's an example of what this energy is kind of taking us through, of trusting your intuition, trusting that you do know enough and you have the background of what's right for you. And so you can take the action, trusting that you're clever enough that even if you only see the next step, that you can run with scissors a little bit right now. Like trusting yourself this month that you've got what it takes, that you have the information you need in order to make decisions that are right for you, decisions that align with your highest and greatest good, and decisions that are coming from a place of your subconscious, but not the conditioning, from your truest, highest self, aligning with your truest, highest good and your truest, highest needs. So there's a lot of trust here. There's a lot of uncovering, and there's a lot of forward movement, which is very exciting toward your true dreams. So Sagittarius, I am sending you so much love this month and all months, but especially this in your birthday month. I hope you have a wonderful December, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye for now.